All right. Well, we will get started and get on our way. So, um, good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday. Um, I don't know what else does anybody have anything going on? We'll get started with that first, and then Rich is our speaker, and he'll talk to us. That we decided yesterday we could all pretend to be each other's roles and give each other spiels by now, but the only thing I can say, is this weekend is the Restorative Justice Conference, so I'll see several of you there. Um, I just was on the planning committee meeting, so it's a packed full 2 days of things. We have about 120 people registered, so if you're bringing swag, there's 120 people registered. So, um, the poachers are out; they want the stuff. It'll be hopefully it'll be a good conference. We have a couple of art exhibits, so the Inside Out incarceration exhibit will be there, just part of it. And then some other things will be there, where there's live music one night after dinner. So hopefully there's some entertainment, as well as some good presentations. So that's all I've got. Does anybody else have anything going on?
See Ashley Lowe's on here too, but we plan on doing the reentry simulation in Morgantown sometime in the fall, as we didn't have enough interest for the one that we previously tried to schedule. So I don't think we have a date set for that or anything, but we want to do it when students are here. And yeah, just want to mention that.
Yeah, that's definitely a great idea. And then, connect with the criminal justice program there, and the social work program. A lot of nursing programs have started to express interest in it too. So it's, you can, a lot of different majors have expressed interest in it that I hadn't really considered before. So when we did the one at Concord a couple of weeks ago, the nursing instructor our coordinator had approached us about doing one. So. Ashley, I know this is nothing to do with you, but it does. Just to let you know that there is a problem with the Getting Out app, that we cannot see all of our full messages. So it is actually with the app developer. So we have all uninstalled it, reinstalled it. So if people are trying to send us messages, we can't see them.
Trisha, that's a nationwide problem.
That's what I thought.
I use the Getting Out with states across the country, and it's been horrible.
Yeah,
absolutely horrible.
Yep. So that's what I thought too. So yeah, there's a big error message that pops up on the screen, and so you can't always see everything. So all right. Anybody else have anything going on? Anything you want to share?
I just got the email today about, I put it in the chat about the ruling of removal of parolees, so
Yes.
WVA. That was huge.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
That's really good to see that.
Yeah. So we don't know what will happen with that, because they were removed. They were not supposed to be removed until June 1st. So there was miscommunication, and they were starting to be removed early. How do you rectify that situation? I don't know. You can't go back in time and put them back in their house for that amount of time. So that is still, to be continued. But Bev spent a day in court testifying, and I don't know. We'll see what happens from here. All right. Well, Rich Ward, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Definitely recognize several names. So again, I apologize for those of you that have heard this multiple times, but I do see some new names. And fortunately, we have Diane Hildreth here with us. Diane is our district manager. Our agency is divided up into 6 districts across the state, and Diane is the manager over the district, our Clarksburg district, which covers the Morgantown, Preston County, Marion County, and those areas and many other counties. And if Diane, you jump on here and tell us what counties you serve, I would appreciate that. And go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. This is, like he said, this is the first time I've been on there. I'm district manager of District 2. We actually cover from Flatwoods to Elkins, Tucker County, Philippi, Morgantown, Doddridge County. We have several counties. I can't even name them all off right now, but we have several counties. We have 5 offices that cover those areas.
All right. And so, Diana, are you familiar with the reentry councils? Just to bring you up to speed on kind of what we're doing. Are you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yes, I've read some things about it. Yes.
All right. And I'm going to share our website. So everyone knows this is our pretty new website. And so, Diane, please, as I go through this, please feel free to jump in and correct me if I say something wrong or add anything that you think is important. I just try to go through this real quick for folks that aren't aware of DRS and what we do and how we can and do serve the reentry population. Many times individuals who are justice involved do have disabilities. There's lots of studies out there that show, for example, about 88% or up to 88% of individuals who are incarcerated have traumatic brain injuries. You also have substance use disorders and co-occurring disorders, behavioral health conditions. Those are all disabilities that can and do impact an individual's ability to get and keep a job. And that's what we do at the Division of Rehab Services. We work with individuals with disabilities of any kind to help them get and keep employment. And I always like to point out that we have been around. You can dig in this website and we have a little section on our history right here. And a lot of people are surprised to learn that we have been around for over 100 years. Yeah, we started in 1920 providing vocational rehabilitation services. And it's a federal program operated by each state. So there's vocational rehabilitation agencies in every state and territory in the country. And some states have 2. There's sometimes states have one for what we call the general population, and some states have one separately for individuals who are blind. So that's why there's so many VR agencies across the state. But what I like to do is just point out that this new make a referral to DRS button here can be used to make referrals to the Division of Rehabilitation. Please keep in mind that, it's not just the folks that you might serve. We can serve you. We can serve your family members. We do start working with students at age 14 through our transition program. So we have counselors assigned to every high school in the state of West Virginia. So if you have a student or you know of a student who has a disability, perhaps they have an IEP. They don't necessarily have to have an IEP, but those individuals can and do qualify for our services. So again, Diane, please feel free to jump in anytime you want to say anything, particularly since you know your area way better than I do. But what I often do is, although again, we do serve students, but what I like to do, because we mainly for these councils focus on the adult population, so I like to use our frequently asked questions kind of as a guide that will spur conversation and possibly have you think of a question that you want to ask or that we can dig into a little bit deeper. But so the question is, what is vocational rehabilitation? And it's the federal state program that helps people with physical or mental disabilities. And again, keep in mind, disability is very broad. We serve individuals with very what I would consider maybe minor disabilities to very significant disabilities. And it can be, again, physical or mental, behavioral health, a combination of. Lots of people who have disabilities have secondary disabilities, for example. So it doesn't have to be someone who utilizes a wheelchair or may have had an amputation or is blind or is deaf. It doesn't have to be that significant. It can be anything that impacts an individual's ability to get and keep a job. So those are the two key words that you need to keep in mind is employment and disability. Again, we do help people find meaningful careers by providing vocational rehabilitation services. And the question is, who is eligible? You might be eligible if you have a disability or if the individual you are referring has a disability that interferes with your ability to prepare for, get, or keep a job, and you require vocational rehabilitation services to get or keep employed. So if you receive Social Security disability, one of the questions that we get all the time is, do I have to receive Social Security disability to qualify for vocational rehabilitation services? And the answer to that question is no. However, if you do receive, or if an individual receives Social Security disability and wants to pursue employment, then they can automatically be presumed eligible for vocational rehabilitation services. I always like to point out, and Diane, please jump in if you have a different opinion, but it's never a good idea, in my opinion, to apply for vocational rehabilitation services and disability, Social Security disability at the same time. We just do the opposite things. You know, if you're applying for our program, you're saying you can work with some accommodations. If you're applying for Social Security disability, you're saying you can't work. Now, individuals who have received Social Security disability and decide that they want to try to go back to work or go back to work on a part-time basis, you know, we can work with that. Diane, do you think those are fair statements?
I do. And I think we have to have that talk a lot. People will come in here and say, well, I'm going to look for a job while I'm applying for Social Security. So then we have to have that talk with them. You know, if you're wanting Social Security and you're wanting to apply for the job at the same time, you know, you're kind of going against what you want to do. So
Right.
we have to sit them down and explain to them and then let them decide what they want to do.
Right. And we also are, in my experience, we also get the question of, do you help people apply for Social Security disability? And no, that is not something that we do. I mean, we could show them, you know, how to get started. You know, there's information on our website. We could tell them, refer them, but, you know, it's not our role to help an individual apply for Social Security disability.
Right. That's right.
So the next question here is, what should I bring to my first appointment? And if you have these things, you know, great. If you don't have them, it doesn't mean you can't apply, but these things help the process go along. Any driver's license, state ID, medical insurance cards, contact information, Social Security card, medical records, educational records, your disability, if you receive Social Security, your disability award letter, all of those things will help facilitate the process. You do not have.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Rich,
go right ahead.
Social
No, jump
Security
in.
card or verifying your Social Security number, we cannot open a case until we do that.
Right.
That's the only thing that we absolutely have to have.
All right. So definitely need the Social Security card or some sort of verification. Are there modifications to that? Is there anything else that can verify that, Diane, other than the card?
Well, yes, you know, like if they have the disability award letter, anything with their Social Security number on it, we can use that to verify it if they don't have the card.
Okay.
We just need to verify
Gotcha.
their Social Security number.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So you do not have to have, or the individual doesn't necessarily have to have records in hand. They don't even have to have the documented disability. If they suspect or feel that they have a disability, we can have them evaluated. We can obtain the necessary records that we need to make that eligibility determination. Is that correct, Diane?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And so how long does it take for eligibility to be determined? Again, we are an eligibility-based program, not an entitlement program. Federal law gives us 60 days, or gives our counselors 60 days to make that eligibility determination. Lots of times it does not take that long. Occasionally it takes longer if there's some unforeseen circumstance, if we can't get the records that we need, or there's something standing in the way. Sometimes it does take a little longer, but typically within 60 days. I always like to tell this group or the reentry councils that, you know, we are not an agency set up to provide immediate assistance. We're not there to help with housing, you know, overnight, or get people into housing or food or anything like that like right when they come out of incarceration. We are a process that takes some time, but we're about helping people get those long-term meaningful careers. And we are a great resource, and we can and do again serve this population every day. We're constantly working with individuals who are justice involved or who have been justice involved, but we're not the right agency to provide those immediate services. Fair enough, Diane?
That's absolutely correct. We usually refer them to DHHR because they have case managers who can help them get started and all that. Or if they do have a mental illness and they're in therapy, then typically the mental health provider will have case managers that can help them do that too.
Right. So the next question here is, can vocational rehabilitation help me get a job? And the answer to that is yes. That's what we do. That's really all we do. We're about helping folks with disabilities find and obtain or maintain suitable employment. And we do that by developing what is called an employment plan. And that is a plan that just really spells out what is the job goal, what steps do we need to take, what services do you need to provide, or does the individual need? And we're going to talk about what services we can and do provide here in just a little bit. What services do you need to accomplish that goal? How will we know when that goal has been accomplished? So your plan just spells out, or the individual's plan spells out the steps to employment. Is there a charge for vocational rehabilitation services? Typically, no. From time to time, an individual may be, if they have what we call a surplus of income, if they have resources, then they may be asked to contribute to the cost of their program. And sometimes that varies depending on the amount of funding we have. Generally speaking, the answer is no, that there is no charge. Diane, do you agree?
Yeah, typically the ones that we end up having maybe a charge, and this is only in times of our funding is short, would be people needing hearing aids or expensive aids like that. But no, just typically someone looking for a
Vehicle
job is not going to
modification.
have, right. They're not going to have any charges.
Right. Okay, so now here's kind of the big thing. And again, it's very, very hard. So Diane, please help me out. It's very, very hard for me to describe all of the variety of services that we provide, because it is very vast. We provide a wide array of services to help individuals get those jobs. But we do provide evaluation and diagnostic services, anything that we may need to help determine eligibility and to help develop that consumer's plan, things such as functional capacity evaluations, psychological evaluations, those types of things that help, again, determine eligibility and then determine what course of action we need to take to help that individual get and keep a job. Do lots of vocational counseling and guidance. You know, all of our counselors are really the experts in employment and disability. They know resources. They can point individuals in the right direction. They can purchase services that individuals need. We do provide pre-employment transition services for our youth that we're working with, ages 14 to 21. Training is a huge service that we provide. Millions and millions of dollars we spend every year on training. When I say training, that can be a very broad thing in itself. Anything from basic life skills training, something we call work adjustment training, to on-the-job training, to vocational training, to college training. We provide a full spectrum of training services. Diane, do you have anything to add to that I might have missed? I know that's very quick, but training is quite broad. Anything you think is important to tell this group?
It is very broad. And, say if you have someone, that's well, I'm going to go back to the mental health. If they need counseling to get to the place where they're able to look for a job, then we can help pay for that. If they don't have sufficient insurance, the insurance is always the payer of first resort, and we are payer of second resort. But we can help in any type of services they need to reach their individual goal for employment.
So other things that are kind of listed here are and then I didn't even mention are job coaching. Individuals oftentimes require a job coach to go with them on the job to learn the tasks of those jobs. And lots of individuals require ongoing job coaching to help them stay on task. Typically those are individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities, but not always. An individual who may have a behavioral health condition could benefit from a job coach. Or any of the services that we provide. We do also job seeking skills, resume writing, those types of things, books, supplies, tools, and any other training materials. Again, our services are individualized to that to our consumer. Not everything what you need to achieve your employment goal. Rehabilitation technology is another service that we provide a lot of. Drivers training, vehicle modifications, ramps, hand controls. For example, for folks who need that, we have a optic driving program for individuals who are legally blind and can safely be trained to operate motor vehicles using bioptic driving. Again, some of the information doesn't always apply to the reentry population, but I have seen since I've been working in this past 10 years, individuals who are with all kinds of disabilities. We've served individuals who are blind, coming out, those who are deaf, individuals who are amputees. So we've served tons of individuals who are just as involved with all different types of disabilities. So they might be rare circumstances, but it's important that folks are aware that these services are out there. Again, not only for our consumers, but for our family members and ourselves. We are all just one, accident away from a disability. We can acquire a disability at any time in our life, so we never know when we may need these services or a family member may need our services. So Diane already mentioned that we do provide physical and mental therapy services. If an individual needs physical therapy or mental health therapy and can't afford, for example, the copay, or maybe vendors across the state.
I think we lost him. I'll go ahead and add to what he was talking about. We do a lot of job maintenance, like helping people maintain their jobs, because as they age, they may need hearing aids. Someone may need a new prosthetic, whatever they need to maintain that job. Or if they're stressed out by what they're doing, we can help with mental health services. Anything from maintaining the job to finding a job, and basically is where we fall in. Okay.
Sounds like Diane picked right up where I dropped.
I did. I tried.
Thank you so much, Diane. I don't know what happened. My internet just went out. I got this message that said it was unstable, and then I went away. So thank you very much. We do provide a variety of support services for individuals to help them achieve their goals. This can be maintenance, transportation assistance, personal care assistance, services to families. Again, all services are very individualized, and we are not set up to provide long-term supports or long-term transportation, but temporary things that can help these individuals get back into the world of work. Anything I missed there, Diane, that you want to add?
No, I don't think so. I was talking to him about maintaining employment. We help a lot of people maintain their employment too.
Yes, absolutely. So I think now is probably a good time to stop and ask if anyone has any questions for me or Diane.
Yes, I want to know
Diane
about.
must have done Go ahead, Grant. Sorry.
That's okay. I just want to know about the time frame, I guess, from first contact with a client to when they'll have that meeting to when services will be set up. What's the normal time frame?
Right. Well, Diane is probably much better equipped to answer this question than me, but I do know that our counselors have huge caseloads right now. They're very, very busy. We're like any other agency, particularly in state government, short-staffed. It's hard to get folks to work. Well, it's actually hard to get folks to work in any industry these days, it seems like. But Diane is much better equipped to answer that question. So please, Diane, tell us what's going on in your area.
Typically, once we receive a referral, the counselor will make contact with them within 10 days. Then they will schedule an appointment to meet with them and do their intake. At that time, they have 60 days to do eligibility. Like Rich said before, many times it does not take 60 days. It depends on what the disability is, how hard it was to get the records. Do we have to schedule them for an appointment? Sometimes when we have to schedule appointments, it takes a while to get them into those appointments. So it all depends on that individual. Once the eligibility is determined, they have 90 days to do their individual plan for employment. So they will contact the client when they do the eligibility, let them know they found them eligible, and then they will set up an appointment to start developing the plan. And when they do that, they're going to talk to them about their interest, and what their disability is and how that affects their interest and what's going to work for them and something that they can maintain once they receive that employment offer. So there he went again.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Okay.
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought
just
we
sharing my
lost you.
screen.
I thought we
No,
lost you. So
I
once
just
they,
wanted to.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Diane. I was just going to share my screen back.
Okay.
Go,
Once
continue.
they do the plan, then they will discuss, they'll come up with that goal. What they're going to work. Do they need training? Do they need to go back to school to reach that goal? Do they need to, what do they need? Do they need OJTs? Do they need job coaching? Whatever they need to reach that goal, they'll develop into that plan through talking with the client and what their needs are. So once the plan is signed and in place, then the counselor starts arranging those services for that individual. And once they've continued and completed their services, then they start on their job search. When they start their job search, once they receive a job offer and begin working, we typically leave that case open for 90 days to make sure they're getting all right, getting along okay in their job, and that they don't need any additional services. Once we reach that 90 days, we talk to them. If they say everything's good, I'm doing along fine, then we close the case at that time. So like Rich said earlier, we don't do long term. It's based on the time frame it takes to complete the job goal. Anything else I need to add to that, Rich?
Well, one thing that I was going to add when you mentioned OJTs, I wanted to, I know that I had mentioned it before, but OJTs are on the job training. Sometimes we use these acronyms and folks don't realize, but one thing that I did want to point out about on the job trainings, something that we've done a lot with that I think particularly applies to our group that we're working with or talking to today, is the on-the-job training for peer recovery support specialists. I don't think we've done many of those in your area, Diane, but we have done a lot in the Charleston area, the Beckley area, some in the Huntington area, but that is where we work with individuals who want to become peer recovery support specialists. And they were struggling to get those 500 hours of clinical experience. They're all required to do that. Typically, employers can't pay them because the individual isn't able to bill for services, so they're not able to generate income. So it was a struggle for the individual to get that 500 hours of clinical experience. So what we've been able to do in lots of situations is we set up an on-the-job training for that individual, which allows us to pay for their 500 hours of clinical experience while they're working and getting that experience. Then the employer we're reimbursing that employer. So then when the individual becomes certified and can start billing Medicaid for the services that they're providing, then they are retained at that facility wherever they're working, whether it be a day report center or a hospital emergency room or a recovery center or wherever. There's a number of places that employ peer recovery support specialists. Then those individuals are employed as peer recovery support specialists. So that's something that we've been working a lot on, and I'd like to work on expanding that into District 2, which is Diane's district. Again, I don't think we've done many of those in your district. Are you aware of any, Diane?
I know that some are starting to request that service, but I don't really believe we've ever had anyone completely take the training yet.
Okay. Yeah, and it's a pretty easy process. District 6 has done a lot. It seems to go fairly smoothly. So if you do, Diane, if you or your staff know of folks that want to become peer recovery support specialists and want a little more information on how that works, please feel free to reach out to me. And Allison, I can help you with that very quickly. So any other questions that we haven't addressed or comments, anything you're interested in learning more about? I've got our map up here. This is Diane's district. All of the offices are listed here. Again, you can use this make a referral to DRS button. I have said many times, and again, I don't know what Diane thinks, but I personally think if an individual is making a referral, it's best to contact that office and get and maybe speak to the counselor or speak to someone who can take the referral. I think you can get better have better communication that way. I think this is a great tool to use if you want to. I think my preferred choice would be actually contacting an individual at the local office and developing a relationship. That way, you know who to go to in the future. That's just me.
And we have managers in every one of these offices that you could talk to, and they would take the referral and give you any information you need.
Yeah. So, definitely different ways to make referrals. And again, the other thing I want to say is when we say the first step is to apply for our services or make an application, I think it's important to point out that it's not really just like filling out an application. It's really more of an intake process, an interview, counseling and guidance session where that counselor is gathering lots of important information to make that eligibility determination, to even start the process of developing that individual's plan for employment. So it's not just a matter of filling out paperwork. It's a vocational counselor who's trained to ask specific questions, to do a health assessment questionnaire, to screen individuals for various disabilities, secondary disabilities, to really look at what's going on and what services we can provide to help that individual. Think that's fair, Diane?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. All right. Any other questions at all? All right. I'll turn it back over to Krisha or Terry, whoever wants to take over.
Well, thank
And
you.
thank you, Donna.
Yes, and thank you, Donna, for, you know, it's always good to, you know, to hear about what services we have and, you know, one thing that Rich and I have talked about, you know, self-advocacy is just a huge piece that, you know, that information just does not travel with you from public school to university to the next stages of your life. So, just knowing about these sources and resources that can help you are going to help you be successful. So, I know Terry has talked about her uses and things. So, thank you for that. Anybody have anything else going on? Anything they want to share?
Want to share one thing. I remember whenever I was pretty young, pre-prison, and I went to the DRS, and they were helping me go to college. And whenever they took me into their office, they had this little test. You know, it was like several small tests to help you determine, like, are you good at this or are you good at that? And I just found that was just very useful, you know, like they were like, you are not a real hands-on person. And so that's why they helped me go to school instead. So they're very,
One of the things,
very detailed.
one of the things thanks, Terry. One of the things that I didn't mention is we do also have a website called pathwayswv.org, and you can definitely find that on our website as well. And there are all kinds of career assessment inventories on there that you can self-administer, and tons of resources. It's set up for students, but I'm telling you, there's a wealth of information in there for adults as well. You know, definitely check that out. Pathwayswv.org, I think is correct, Diane. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it is. And that can be very eye-opening for people too. And when they look at that stuff, oh, I don't want to do that. And then it helps narrow things down so that when they meet with the counselor, then they have an idea what they like and, you know, what they really don't want to do.
Right. And there's also what we call job tryouts and trial work experiences where individuals, we can arrange for them to try out different jobs, because not everyone does well with a pen and paper test, or just, you know, they have to actually experience it first. So we can and do set up work experiences for individuals, typically for our students who haven't had any work experience, but you know, it could also be utilized for other people.
Well, I just wrote down that website because I'm going to check it out for the students that I work with. I have found when they're doing My Next Move and ONET that when they go through those, they're, I don't want to say antiquated jobs, but there are not jobs that are current. So I get a lot of zeros on those interest forms. And it seems like a lot of them are almost male dominated. So when I get some younger girls that they hand me zeros, on their, realistic enterprising and things like that, because the job selections, they're like, I'm not interested in that. So I'm definitely going to check that website out.
too.
And it looks like you dropped a
Yeah,
luau. What?
yeah, this is for Christian Help was doing a fundraiser. And Colleen said she had stuff was wrong with, I don't know if she can speak to it, but I just got an email about that yesterday, so I figured I'd share it here. But they're doing a
Oh, thank you,
fundraiser.
Grant.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Colleen?
Just so that you're aware, I mean, of course, we're a nonprofit. So discretionary funds aren't as readily available through grant writing and donations. So one of the ways that we receive discretionary funds to pay for the building, our taxes, maintenance, and personnel, is to have our fundraiser. We have one going on at Dockside on Sunday, June 23rd from 4 to 8. It's luau themed. It's very relaxed compared to the majority of fundraisers you'll see in town. We're definitely not Children's Hospital. But we have some pretty decent auctions and live auctions and raffles available for people, as well as some fire dancers and steel drums there. So we just want to thank our partners and our contributors and our clients, and try to make it affordable for everybody. It's just $50 a ticket if you'd like to come, and we'd love to see any of you there. And while I have the floor, I also wanted to chime in conjunction with the Division of Rehabilitation Services, which thank you for the update, because it's been a while since we've gotten that overview. When you have clients that are involving themselves in work, specifically interviews or any of their trial experiences, we have the career closets available to help people with work attire. If they need steel-toed shoes or non-skid shoes or something along those lines, I write grants literally to purchase those and give them to people so they have them and they don't miss work. So the next person in line doesn't get it. And then also we have a wide variety of scrubs. If people can come, since they have very specific colors they have to wear in different locations. So we would love to complement the services that you're providing if we can, and we can also do some of the career service support activity like aptitude testing and resume assistance and mock interviews, that type of thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's definitely amazing, that having that proper work attire just to get, great, you've got the job, but you don't have what you need to have. So glad you do that. And then I've dropped in the chat also, if there is a flyer for that event, if you want to email that to me, I can share it out to our listserv.
I'll do that, Terry. Thanks.
Yep. I'm Krisha. Terry's the other one. Sorry.
Oh, Krisha. I'm sorry. Krisha Spears?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Thank you.
I didn't realize that we hadn't changed our names in here, so. Yeah. All right.
Hey, Diane, one quick question for you. I could email you later, but since you're on here, do you know, is Wayne working this week?
Yes, well, he
Okay.
didn't work yesterday, but he is
Okay.
now working.
All right. Yeah, I had emailed him yesterday and to hear back, I thought, well, maybe he's on vacation because he's usually quick about it. So I thought I'd better check with you. Okay. I'm sure I've heard back from him by now.
Yeah, he was off Friday and Monday, but he's back today.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much. And the reason I ask is I am actually going to the Restorative Justice Conference that Krisha had mentioned, and I need someone from it's at Buchanan, so I need someone from the Weston office to help me just a little bit Friday afternoon. So hopefully he can point me in the right direction on that.
Well, I think Candace Bittinger's, when she's working up there now, she came back from DDS. I think she's doing Buchanan area, so you might want to contact her.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, does anyone have anything else that's going on or anything we want to share?
No, I think we're good.
Right. Well, everyone have an awesome Tuesday, and I will see some of you this weekend at the conference, or I don't know if we have any other council meetings. I don't think, well, no, we have Kanawha tomorrow, but other than that, have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thanks,
You're
everybody.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care all.
Bye-bye.